In this video we're going to take a brief look at the system drawing class and create bitmaps. First thing is to import system.drawing, and I'm just going to import it as drawing. If we can go to drawing.bitmap, and we can create a bitmap using several different ways. One is we could import it by the string of the location. Another is from stream. We can create them with width and height and a lot of other information to be more specific. Or we can actually just use width and height and create it there. So let's just create one here, width and height 256, and let's set it equal to something, map. Next thing we can do is we can save it. Alright, let's save drawing.bitmap.save, and here we put in the name of the bitmap, and then we put in the location. The name of the bitmap is map, and the location, let's say something like C drive. Let's put it in like a temp folder, and the default actually is a PNG file, which is just fine. Alright, so let's hit play, and it will create a blank bitmap for us. Now let's fill it in with some colors. Alright. So if we want to change the color, we need to iterate through each of the pixels. There is a faster way, but this way is a bit clearer. So let's go through the same range for I for X directions, and the J for sort of the Y directions, or U and V, however you want to break that out. And then let's say drawing.bitmap.setPixel. Right, you'll also notice that there is a getPixel if we wanted to get a pixel from something in X and Y. But we're going to use setPixel, and what it takes in is it takes in the bitmap, the X and the Y location. So let's put I and J. And then for setBitmap, it also takes in color, and color is in the system.drawing space. So let's say drawing.color. And for color, there's actually a lot of ways to create colors. There's a lot of predefined colors. There's also some ways, like from ARGB, that will allow us to create it from red, green, and blue values. So we could do 255, 127, 0, red, green, and blue. And we run that, and it'll change all of them to that color. Right. Or we could select color dot and one of the presets, run it, and it will change all of them into that. Now what if we wanted to have two different ones, let's say black and white? Then we can just create an if statement here, and we'll use the random class. So let's import random. Random.get random bits. So if it is true, then let's set the color to white, and if it is false, let's set the color to black. Now when we run it, it will randomly select colors, black, and then select colors black and white, and then create the image for us. Another way that you'll often do things is not to have this dynamically created, but actually you pull it from some other data that you pre-computed. So for example, we can create a variable called states. Let's create it as a list, and we're going to create it as a two-dimensional list that has the same size as our bitmap in terms of the number of pixels. And so then what we do is, let's say, go for I in the range 256, states dot append, let's add an empty array, for J in range 256, states I dot append, and here we'll put in our function that created the random bits. We'll random get rand bits and make sure to close it off. And that's going to basically store all of these values as just booleans, true or false, in an array that's the same size as the bitmap. That way we can use these values for data for processing something, like cellular automata, for example. And then later we can just recall them when we want to color them, or if we want to do something by creating geometry using those true and false values, or maybe creating a texture using those true and false values like we're doing now. So now instead of this Boolean random function down here dynamically allocating and determining the color, we'll use a reference to states I, j to get the location and reference back to the pre-computed ones. So when we run this, it computes and creates random values. All right. That's it. That's pretty much all you need to know, except drawing.bitmaps.getPixel. Sometimes you may need to use that, so you can get map and you put the x and y locations, and then you will get a color back, which then you can use to get red, green, and blue values, or compare it to some of the preset colors.